Okay, the last part we're going to talk about pilot research. Pilot research is conducted, not all experiments, but it's sort of a good thing to do. It's like a trial run on a few subjects where you can kind of work out the kinks. The initial stages of experimental design, small number of subjects, trial run, helps to establish a rationale and advance a particular hypothesis, serves as the reason for the procedure modifications, can be used to calculate effect size, may serve as a researcher signpost to point the direction of further investigation. It's just like a smaller version of your study. It helps you figure out if you're on the right track. I remember, like, with my dissertation, I had, this big plan, and I started pilot data, but then it was like it was complicated. It was very complicated. So my pilot ended up being like this full, detailed, long experiment that I used for my dissertation, so the pilot data really helped me figure out what was feasible. And I was also able to calculate the effect size, which is a stat we'll talk about that's huge. It helps you figure out how many subjects you need to hit significance. So pilot study, again, helps figure out how long the study will be, how easy it was. In my case, it would have been too hard to find participants for a full-blown study with what I wanted to do. So it's like a trial run before you waste a lot of time, before you waste a lot of money. It helps you figure out if you're actually doing what you want to do and headed in the right direction. Going back to between subject design. So we were talking mostly about experimental design in this chapter. But remember, there's also descriptive design. So with experimental design, we have an experimental group and we have a control group, and we have to make sure there's group equivalency. With descriptive design, we're comparing groups, okay? So again, we're comparing groups on some variable. We can't manipulate the independent variable. They are attributes. So with descriptive design, comparisons are done on some sort of criterion variable, as opposed to experimental design where things are manipulated. In descriptive between subject designs, different groups of subjects are compared with each other with regards to their performance on some criterion variables. In between subject experiments, different groups of subjects are exposed to different treatment or levels of the independent variable. That's with experimental design, not descriptive design. We could talk about bivalent groups, two groups, present or absent of treatment, or we could do multivalent. We could have two groups, multiple treatments, and a control group. With experimental and descriptive data collection, you always have to think about group equivalency between the experimental and the control groups, except for that independent variable that you're looking at in terms of descriptive research. That could be different. That would be a different attribute that you would have different in the control group versus the experimental group. And that's it.